Hello everyone, and welcome back to Darkest Dungeon. A couple things I forgot to mention last time. A thing about New Game Plus and the current status of the thing, and we're in week 87 right now, I believe. So if this was New Game Plus, this week would be game over because the New Game Plus has a time limit of 86 weeks, I believe.
Yeah, sounds about right. I know it's 80-something.
Yeah, so technically if this was Stygian mode, we'd be in game over. So my crew for this is kind of tricky because of what's going to happen in this dungeon, and how I completely somehow ignored Selnar for a good, oh man, how many missions did I not use him in?
I haven't seen him in a long time, is all I know.
Same, because for whatever reason, he got shoved to the bottom of my roster list where I couldn't see him outright. And because of that, I didn't realize he has a -6 to speed.
It's fine.
Not really because on where we're going, because where we're going, we don't really need the 3 trinkets we got from the last dungeon, but they sure do help.
I mean, I think you kind of need them.
Yeah. We'll explain that when it becomes necessary, however, due to the circumstances of the situation, we only get 3 of those trinkets, and we could get 4 party members, so...
Someone's getting left out.
Someone has to be protected. Also, I realized maybe the lantern's not a good idea here. Maybe I should go with another standby. Because I was sitting there thinking, wait a minute, I never once got an ambush in the Darkest Dungeon, nor did I ever get ambushed.
Yeah, Prophet's Eye is probably a good choice for the Arbalist.
Yeah. It's always a toss-up for me between the Prophet's Eye and the Matchstick.
I know the Prophet's Eye has all sorts of rank 4 shit, so...
Yeah, it fits in pretty well, yeah, but the main trade-off is damage versus accuracy, and I feel like I need accuracy more than anything. Especially in retrospect after remembering what happened in this dungeon. But yeah,
I mean, you've got like half a Mark party going, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, actually. Huh, what do you know? Weird coincidence there.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you've noticed, this is gonna be... Most people consider this the hardest dungeon with all reason, because technically you're operating at, like, almost half firepower. A lot of the times, trinkets tend to, you know, fine-tune your team and specialize them for a lot of good goals. However, due to circumstances here, you kind of need to waste 3 accessory slots just to stay alive.
Yep.
That'll be explained when we get to it, but for now, let's just hear what our ancestor has to say.
The thing has no name, for it needs no language. Nevertheless, those who would submit to its wordless will are rewarded in a fashion. The creature's blessings are as repulsive as they are robust. Twisted, half-human monstrosities stalk the flesh-ridden halls, protecting their gestating god.
Gestating is a word you almost never hear. Also, you know how you said that the last dungeon looked cool?
Madness made flesh.
Yeah.
It crawls steadily upward from the pit, supported by the lattice of cyclopean pillars.
Man, this shit escalated. So, I mentioned that this is the hardest dungeon, and it kind of shows right here when you're introduced to 2 of the most damaging enemies in the game, in a quantity of 3. And if you noticed a while ago, Voltic Surge missed.
Yeah.
That kind of happens way too fucking much in this dungeon. So yeah, for anybody that wants to have a little fun game, keep count of how many times Voltic Surge missed. Also, a weird little choice I made for my Man-at-Arms, Selnar, I gave him the Flesh's Heart because I knew bleed was going to be a thing here, and that thing gives you plus 35% bleed resist. That doesn't fucking help. The reason why is because I completely forgot about this. Deathlash reduces your bleed resist.
Oh yeah, that was yeah.
You're going to bleed. Like don't bother trying to resist. You're going to bleed. Also, I failed to mention it before because I was discussing other things, but the mission here is to activate 3 beacons with what we have in our inventory called a Hand of Glory. And I think the Hand of Glory has a really cool description. It said it's it's a candle made from the body of a... It's made from the body of a man who died from the gallows, using the very wax from his body. Or with wax made from the fat of his body. I'm like, holy shit, that's kinda cool.
I mean, if you say so.
I thought it was neat for where we're going. Like, it's little details that like that. You don't really see details like that in video games nowadays.
No, I suppose not.
Now, among, like, I do gotta say we do beat this mission with respectable, you know, efficiency. However, I can't help but feel it. Keep seeing the mistakes of this team, like everywhere I turn. The first one being, I gave Voltic Surge the damage collar. I probably shouldn't have done that because it reduces the healing he receives. And even though I have the Arbalist who can counteract that, I still waste a lot of turns trying to specifically heal the Houndmaster because of it. So I don't know if I would recommend taking the spiked collar here. Maybe something like the, ow. Yeah, that's about, what, 30 damage? But yeah, I would highly recommend just giving the Houndmaster, Spike Club. If you don't want to give it the weighted cudgel, give him something like the Crescendo box or maybe a legendary bracelet.
I mean, I actually wouldn't bring a Houndmaster to this dungeon at all.
Really? Everything's a beast.
Yeah.
And he has a guard. Like, I feel like this is one of the 2 instances where you want to bring a Houndmaster.
Well, I mean, I've only done this mission once.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, and I brought a Man-at-Arms, which did the job just as well, if not better, than a Houndmaster could.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the Man-at-Arms is better than a Houndmaster by merit. The Houndmaster can only guard for 1 turn, while the Man-at-Arms can do it for 2.
Yeah. So, when we actually get to the gimmick of this particular Darkest Dungeon run, you're gonna want a sustainable guard, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and you can tell that this mission's getting hard because I already have someone on death's row.
Yeah.
Like, it's about this time where they're just like, we're done fucking around. You've had your tutorial, now suffer. But yeah, I keep trying to figure out what's a better way to do this, and I don't know if I can find any way. Like, maybe replace the Houndmaster with Grave Robber?
Well, Grave Robber would probably be pretty good.
Unbalanced.
I'd probably go for, like, sort of that high crit damage dealer type in that slot, honestly.
So Arbalist in the back and Grave Robber in front, because they storm up crits.
Yeah. I can't remember my exact party layout for this mission, but I know I didn't bring a Houndmaster and it worked out just fine.
Like, the Houndmaster is nice, but I kind of feel like he's a liability. Well, I wouldn't say liability, because he has direct counters to everything here. He causes bleed easily, and he's anti-beast, which there's a lot of beasts in here. However, I don't know. I think the way I built the Houndmaster kind of fucked with things. Giving him that collar didn't help at all.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
You should probably mark some targets if you're gonna be using a Houndmaster and an Arbalist.
I do mark specific targets, but it doesn't really help. I think you know who I marked.
Well, I know exactly who you marked, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like that fight would have gone quicker if you used a turn or two to just mark.
Oh yeah, for general fights I probably should have marked more. That would have helped.
Yeah.
Especially since everything here has evasion too. It's a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
I feel like everything in this background should be pulsing. Like it feels weird seeing it still Cronenberg body horror around here.
Yeah. As
That being said, fucking I mentioned before that Barasa told me you haven't seen shit yet. He was right. Man, this place is fucked up.
I'm probably in the minority on this one, but I kind of like it better without the fleshy biomass everywhere.
Well, they did that because of what happens later in the Darkest Dungeon, and I kind of agree.
Yeah.
The gothic hellish estate look was pretty nice, but they wanted to fuck with you, and I feel like just abruptly adding, you know, pseudo jaws in the background with like 8 different kind of eyes was a good way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I personally like it a lot, especially with what they were going for later on.
Right.
Damn it.
I mean, I'm not saying it's, you know, bad by any means. It's just like I am not sure. I don't know. I guess I just like the spikes and the towers in the background, and
cuts on its own.
I don't know. The flesh kind of undercuts the awe, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying.
Thanks for covering for me when the fucking LP curse kicked in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the malignant growths are way too merciless. Because like, out of all the things that occur in this dungeon, the fact that they could do 15 damage on average is kind of brutal. Mm-hmm. They crit a lot, which is not great. Maybe it's just me being a big baby and wanting things to be easier, but every single time these things are appeared, I was just like, ah, fuck. Who do I kill? Because to me, the priority list is... It's a tie between either the growth or the priest first, than anything else. But man, those malignant growths are awful. Look at that! That's ridiculous. That's 23 flat damage and then 20 bleed damage. If I didn't bring those band-aids, I'd be boned.
These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
You're already pretty much out of bandages. And
Yeah!
you haven't found a single iron crown yet.
Yeah, this is rather rough. To the point where I actually decide to, you know, camp already.
Really? Already?
To steal oneself.
Yeah, I felt like I needed it because,
I would have saved that
well,
for when you actually need it.
I'm gonna spoil a little bit here. There are 3 mid-bosses here you're gonna fight. I am heading towards the hardest one first.
Okay.
So I decided, you know, I'm a little beat up. Voltic Surge is looking a little stressed, and I kind of need an edge here. I'm gonna camp. I do agree that I did want to save those campfires. I was hoping for at least after the fight, but given how beat up I was getting, I couldn't risk that.
You weren't beat up at all.
The path is clear.
You were literally fine.
I ate 4 crits to the face, Chitlin.
So?
I
You were
wasn't.
still fine. Your Houndmaster was at like half health. Oh.
Our vestal's
was
at
you?
death's door. I had to like
So?
get an edge for this fight. Like, if it was just HP, I wouldn't be worried, but where I'm going, I felt like I needed an edge with how beat up I was already getting. So, here's the gimmick.
Ah, the Templars.
Oh man, these guys suck. If you've noticed, they each have 2 actions for each turn. I'm gonna let y'all know it's technically 1 if you do this thing right. But yeah, their first action is always gonna be Revelation. Notice how it didn't do jack shit? That's because I have a trinket on. that trinket reduces 100% of damage and stress damage from Revelation.
Death waits.
Also, I kind of am glad I had that camp when Voltic Search arrived with 1 HP! But yeah, the big gimmick here is that Revelation does... I don't know how much HP damage, but it also does like 40 stress damage. If you take...
It's quite devastating if you hit a person without the trinket on.
Yeah. Like, eating more than one of those will ruin your life.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Luckily, they seem to be targeting the one person who doesn't have the trinket.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. I could swear their AI was committed to targeting a person without a trinket, because that would make sense, wouldn't it?
That's what I remember happening. Is them constantly going after... I believe it was my Arbalist at the time who did not get the trinket.
Wow, you didn't give your Arbalist a trinket? I would have...
Oh. Why would I give my Arbalist a trinket?
Well, this is going to sound like a big old pile of hypocrisy coming from me, but she's a damage dealer. I like my damage dealers. Like, at the very least, even if a Vestal is, afflicted and wastes turns, at least that turn is not wasted by, not removing another action. Like, with an Arbalist and, like, with my damage dealers, I could rush down people and, you know, get rid of those actions. So I'm fine with my, Vestal, of all things, getting afflicted. Also, am I seeing things, or does that Blight do no damage?
I don't know. I wasn't paying that much attention.
But yeah, even with this supposed new change to RNG, it would still behoove you to guard the person without the trinket, because yeah, that hurts. Revelation sucks.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, they technically only have one action, so if you have high stun priority, technically you could remove one of their attacks, because they will always commit their first act to using Revelation. And while here it won't really matter because you're only stunning one and the other one will still get an attack, it's still one attack removed. And with shit like 12 damage plus Blight, or say 15 damage plus stun, kinda helps.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of feel like taking the spiked collar was a bit of a waste. I should have taken the weighted cudgel.
Yeah, I mean, your Howlmaster is not going to do too much damage against these guys, honestly.
They are beasts, so technically I do more damage.
Yeah,
but it's a drop in the bucket.
At the same time, like, you could probably do more damage by stacking a leper in that spot, that's what I'm saying.
I'm saving my leper. My leper's got a job to do later. Now, one thing I do gotta mention is your comment towards targeting. I failed to notice it in this fight specifically, but since they have two actions, debuffs and marks don't stay as long. They only stay for 1.5 rounds. Which means depending on how you time it, you're gonna get either one attack or no attacks off with that mark. Inversely, DOTs are actually really good here because it's the concept of alpha strikes where you're getting the damage more often and at once.
Yep.
So DOTs are a lot better here. I wish I knew that ahead of time, though.
I mean, DOTs are really good the entire game.
I mean, yeah, I don't like it. I don't know. It's just not my jam, you know? By the way, one thing I should have been doing since the beginning of this fight, these guys like to do Torment, which is basically fuck the two front rows. If I had a riposte up, that would expedite the fight.
Yeah, it would. You could have brought a Highwayman, have double riposte.
Shit, you're right. Highwayman would have been way better here, actually.
Highwayman would have been a great fucking choice, yeah.
Ah, damn it all. Oh well. See, that's the thing about the Darkest Dungeon. You only do it once every blue moon, so you can't exactly get it down to a science.
Yeah, it's not like the bosses you fight 3 times in a row. Where you at least get the chance to learn what they do.
I'm so glad they're all dead.
Them. Oh god, yeah. Like, like, of all things, I think that is like the biggest drawback of this entire game is the fact that you just have to fight every boss 3 times.
Yeah. It is especially sucks when you got cool things like this centurion crab scorpion human mutant with a giant fucking eyeball in his chest. I think that shit's pretty great for a game about eldritch horrors. We have one right here that we didn't get to see until, like, what, 50 hours into the game?
Yeah, the game really does not front load the whole eldritch thing.
The bigger the beast.
Like, I mean, I guess you get mushroom zombies and shit like that, but
So
you don't see the really awful shit until the end game here.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Because I've only done this mission once, I was a naughty boy and looked things up about this mission specifically in the wiki.
You weenie.
I am a big nerd cheater, but I did notice one thing. I don't know if they fixed this, so don't quote me on this because the wiki is also kind of out of date. If you leave the room without activating the pedestal, and you go back, you can't activate it again. You just instantly lose.
Oh.
They may have patched it. I don't know if they did.
Yeah, that sounds like a glitch. A little bit.
I really hope they patched it, but when you're doing this mission, make absolutely sure, put a fucking post-it note on your monitor if you have to. Activate the shrines, because if you fail once, that means you have to retreat, and that means someone's dying.
Yep.
And you don't have a choice.
Which way are you going?
Really doesn't matter. I've done the hardest one.
Well, I mean, there's still more dungeon to do, though.
Oh, yeah. I just feel like, now that I've done the hardest thing, the rest of this dungeon is just kind of a cakewalk, as I do air quotes since no one can see me. But yeah, the thing that they do here, which is kind of a dirty trick in my opinion, is that at the starting point, at every fork in the road, you're fighting a fight that's going to have 2 priests.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the darkest dungeon, is the final...
I mean, they gotta do something to make it, you know, feel like an actual...
Yeah.
An actual, like, endgame run here.
That is true. But yeah, it's... I don't know. The big issue with this dungeon is that it is a, this dungeon, I feel, is basically an endurance trial, since you have to find 3 goals and endure some admittedly hard encounters. Like, I personally feel like this is the hardest one. It was a toss-up between this and the first one, just because, something about the first one always, like, screws me over. I never feel confident like I do with the later missions.
Based on my experience, this second one here is definitely the hardest of the lot.
Yeah, this one is a test. You are down 3 trinkets, which could be used to further specialize your team. You have to go through a long dungeon, which, as you can see by the timestamp, is rather long. And the encounters are plentiful and mean.
A dizzying blow to body and brain.
The worst part here is this is one of the missions where I was debating bringing out my Jester.
I think that would have hurt you, actually, in the long run.
Yeah. Like, the Jester's a great... The Jester isn't specialized, is specialized to be both a buff support and an off attacker, and he's really good at both. However, here, he doesn't really bring anything unique like, say, the Houndmaster would.
Overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, honestly, at this point in the game, I honestly felt it was kind of weird having, like, normal humans fighting these things.
How so? Because I feel like that's kind of what happens in every Lovecraft story.
Well, I mean, in Lovecraft stories, you don't actually fight the things, you just...
Freak the fuck out.
You at best survive them.
I mean, they're fighting them, but these aren't the horror. These are the minions of the horror. Like, if you've ever played the Arkham Horror or Eldritch Horror, this would be all the little peons that you fight beforehand, the things with the little mote of power, like the little fraction of an Elder God's power. So I can see why we're mustering up to fight these and capable of doing so, because these are only like, I'd say these are like 1,000th or 1/10,000th of what lies below is, so it makes sense that a mere human could take them on. But there's a lot of them, so their strength lies in numbers and their ability to just fuck with you.
A devastating blow.
I will say though, you're not wrong, it's a weird thing. It's kind of like how, what's-his-face at the end of Call of Cthulhu was able to fight off Dagon.
Oh, Jack Walters?
Yes.
In Dark Corners of the Earth?
Well
Yeah.
struck.
The game I LP'd.
I know, I saw it and I thought it was pretty funny. It's a shame that that game doesn't really stand up to modern hardware because, what was it, the howitzer scene that fucks up?
Yeah, the scene where you have to shoot the 3 mages on the beach. Just the mages don't show up. It's great.
But yeah, that's basically the same concept. Like, we're basically like Jack Walters in which we could take on Innsmouth and deal with the people there, because while they are, you know, technically horrors, they're not high up on the quote-unquote chain. They are nothing compared to what they are worshipping.
Well, I mean, it's okay. It's one thing to fight an elder god using, you know, a gigantic ship cannon. It's quite another thing to throw your dog at it. Is all I'm saying, I guess.
Yeah, you got a point there.
Now, granted, that's a good-ass dog.
That is a good boy. He deserves all the dog treats after the bullshit he's done here. Man, it's really weird when you think about it. After this dungeon, these guys are gonna have PTSD, so what's that dog gonna be dealing with? Oh, I feel awful now. I feel so bad. I gave a dog PTSD.
What the hell did you do to the poor pup?
Well, I sent him on a
Sending
mission.
him down here.
Yeah, I sent a dog down here, and now he's gonna have nightmares of this. He can never eat meat again because he's gonna see the meat staring back. And that, my friends, is why Darkest Dungeon is great storytelling, because we come up with stupid bullshit like this.
I mean, yeah, I guess fuck the humans, but, you know, poor dog.
I mean, the dog doesn't want to do any of this. His master just told him, yo, we gotta do this for money. Yeah, I mentioned that we did the hardest fight because technically we did. The other 2 fights are gonna be one of them and then 2 minions. Though I would say because of what we're fighting here, this is the second hardest, because I do not like these things.
The polyps?
Yeah. The polyps are actually threatening, which is why I don't like them. They have high dodge, high blight, and they can send anyone of their choice to the 4th row.
Has there been a single revelation aimed at your Vestal?
Twice, actually. No, 3 times. 2 of them have been guarded.
Okay.
But yeah.
It just seems like every time I look, Revelation is targeting one of the 3 people who actually has the trinket, so...
I do think it is weird, yeah, because...
Yeah.
It seems like with the AI focusing on alpha strikes on Champion and Darkest difficulty dungeons, you'd think they would focus Revelation on the Gimp, but they don't, and it's a little odd. No, a problem. Oh well, whatever. Do your job, Selnar.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I've always suspected that something weird is up with my save file. Because there's a lot of bullshit that has happened in this LP that doesn't make any sense. So maybe it is something with like the seed of this specific game and there's just weird things going on. I don't know.
Well, yeah, the only, like, out-and-out weird thing I've ever seen is, you know, the moonwalking after the siren fight. But, like, I don't know if you think you somehow, like, messed with the monster AI.
Well, here's the thing. When I was LPing this game, I didn't realize it until like 10 episodes in, but I was still on the testing branch.
Oh.
And
So
it's,
you were playing with a beta patch?
yeah, and I'm imagining that they updated the beta patch when they went live with this because all the content was still there. It's just that
Right.
maybe something got left over in the beta branch that I don't know. Maybe I'm just overly superstitious, but
I think you're kind of grasping at straws here, trying to figure something out. But
hey,
I mean,
look.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you can see why we don't like Revelation.
Yeah,
it's mean.
That is devastating.
That was what, 50% stress and 20 health, which is like half our max health.
Yep.
So that is effectively a I call them demis because they just, rend your HP to a specific degree.
Mm.
I had something else in mind, but I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah. The stress damage from Revelation, unless you're wearing a trinket, is unaffected by other trinkets. I know this because I'm fairly certain Sacred Scroll has negative stress damage, and yet it still did 50 stress. Which is what it's designed to do.
Yeah, the effect of Revelation is not affected by anything else. It is just a flat value that cannot be mitigated by anything other than the Revelation trinket, so...
Yeah, it'd be kind of messed up if you could, say, take a Jester with, Bright Tambourine and a Holy Book, and then, completely mitigate the Revelation ability.
Yeah, that would just be dumb.
So I'm guessing, Revelation is a especially hard-coded skill, and Vaulting Surge keeps missing! What is this? I don't get it.
Honestly, if I was that dog, I wouldn't want to bite that thing either.
Yeah.
I mean, goddamn, look at it. That thing just looks gross.
I don't want it. It looks nasty. Please don't make me bite it, Master. Also, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but when you activate the trinkets, it says a cry is heard from within.
Mm-hmm. Why are we sitting here?
I think it's because I may have been interrupted while recording. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, okay.
Like, with my living conditions, it's like I get interrupted a lot. So if weird shit just intermittently pauses, that's
well,
what happens.
I didn't know if you had to make another Coke run to the fridge like last time or whatever.
No, that wasn't a croak run. That was something else.
Oh.
But yeah, for this mission, yeah, I think I also had to edit out a bathroom run, but I did edit that out.
Okay, it's good to know.
Now I'm trying to remember the specific encounter layout. I tried to go for the most optimal route, but I don't know if this is it, because I'm wondering if I looped around and then gone back, would I have been safe? Because I'm pretty sure up here is also an encounter.
I'm pretty sure you can't really avoid this one.
Yeah, the way they set up the encounters is that you're always going to be fighting something. There's no safe route. It's not like with, say, a boss run where, like, you could figure out, hey, the boss is there, I should take this route to avoid every single, encounter. And you also can't scout anything, so you're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I think is a good thing, honestly. Scouting and ambush are a result of the map scouting system. And I'm willing to trade off scouting if it means I don't get ambushed.
And, I mean, there's not too much, like, enemy variety in the actual, like, non-boss fights. So you kind of know what you're getting no matter what.
Yeah. Though I will say that this is going to be the last we see of the cult.
Oh, yeah.
Which is an interesting design thing I kind of want to bring up. I feel like we should see more of the cult outside of the dungeon, you know?
The corrupted cult guys?
Not the corrupted cult guys, just the cult in general, because throughout the game you only ever see Brawler and Witch. I feel like there should be more?
Well, I mean, it makes sense that the cult itself, the actual, like, priests and all that would be hidden behind the actual people who do the fighting in the cult. So, like, unless you had a mission to specifically go after the heart of the cult itself, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense that you'd see them just wandering the Weald or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I'd like to see more of the cult because throughout the game you see only those two and you're just like, those cults, I mean, I guess they're not really much of a thing. And then you only get your payoff, what, 50 hours later?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the bandits get 2 of their own unique bosses. They get Wolf and they get a cannon.
Yeah. So... yeah, the cultists don't really have anything. Like originally when I was first playing this game, back before it was even finished, I originally thought the cultists were like somehow the result of the Prophet.
Yeah, huh?
Because just about every enemy in this game has some relation to a boss. You got the brigands, you got the fishmen.
You got zombies, you got the
you got the mushroom people, you got the swine, you got all this stuff that very nicely feeds into the themes of the bosses themselves. And I always figured the cultists were the result of the Prophet, but that's obviously not the case. The Prophet was just sort of an isolated incident.
Yeah.
Triumphant pride.
And then you finally get the payoff like 2 years after the game was made and after 50 hours of commitment to this.
Yeah.
And while it's neat, they don't really have a boss. All they have is like scorpions and tentacle priests. It would have been neat if we saw like echelons of priests. Like when I saw the Ascendant Witch and Brawler, I was like, "Yo, shit, that's cool." Like maybe that would have been if there was like a mid tier that didn't have the mutations but had like say more advanced spells, I guess. Like, maybe have more shit that would, say, mimic stuff seen by the occultist or the antiquarian.
Yeah.
By the way, hunger proc. What the fuck, game? Even in the darkest dungeon, I can't escape food. I believe
at least those are super fucking rare here. I mean, they probably should be turned off entirely.
Yeah, because I think you would be too nervous to eat here.
I wouldn't want to eat when I'm surrounded by,
meat.
Yeah.
I
Fleshy mouths and eyes constantly staring at me. I'd want to, cut my visit short as quickly as possible.
Yeah. I would rather have the rats eat my eyes if I were in here. Oh man, that's such a good game. I love Eternal Darkness.
I really, really want to play that game. Like, that was a game I honestly considered buying a GameCube for back in the day. But
you should have. It was super good.
I probably should just emulate it at this point just to play it.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. And if you, the audience, have not played Eternal Darkness, it's a really good game because it does 2 things. It's a great introductory course to the Eldritch Horror genre. It does a lot of the whole, hopelessness and astral horror thing well without directly referencing Lovecraft or whoever made the Yellow King. It also does a good job of using modern hardware to emulate fourth wall breaking horror. Because there's a thing called sanity effects in that game, and they're really cool.
Yeah, it's something completely different from the sanity effects we usually see, which is just, oh, my vision got blurry, yeah.
No, that game will make you think you accidentally restarted your game. And I thought that shit was great. I think I played that game 3 times, and all 3 times I actively made a point to not have any sanity, because I thought that shit was awesome. That would be a game I would love to LP, but I know there was one in progress, but it just kind of stopped, and it made me really sad.
Well, I don't know, I can see that being a good game to LP. It's very much a cult classic sort of thing, so...
Well, chillin', if you ever want to get back in the saddle.
I've got my own white whale right now.
Oh, I mean, technically what you're doing is a sanity-rending horror, but I still think you got brain problems, man. But yeah, sorry we went off track. It's just that with Malignant horrors, there's not really much to talk about. They just punch my face.
Yeah.
Like, we've kind of already covered everything that this transition into the Darkest Dungeon has beheld. All we got is one boss left.
Yeah, and he's, what, next room up?
Yes. Yes, he is.
Yep.
I really wasn't sure. I was like, is there one more fight? I thought there was one more fight.
I mean, there might be a fight in that hallway.
As
No.
victories mount,
It's a straight
so
shot to the
too
boss.
will resistance.
And yeah, this fight was kind of a bit of a trial. I've exhausted most of the resources I brought with me.
It's okay. You still have a dog treat.
Yeah, actually.
You literally can't lose.
I mean, I guess, but... But, yeah, I noticed that Lucy Wannabe is really high on stress.
Goal without hope.
There's not a lot of stress damage dealers in here. They just threw away the witches already.
They did a lot with each Darkest Dungeon thing to make it unique, so you're not fighting the exact same enemies all the time.
Yeah,
and
that's...
and there is like a serious progression to the enemies themselves. But yeah, like they probably should have kept the witches around.
Yeah,
Probably
stress
should have
damage.
kept general cultists around.
Well, after this, there's gonna be no cultists, which is kind of a... It is marked progression, and I like that, but it does feel kind of sad that the witch and brawler are used all of one in one dungeon and then thrown.
Yeah.
A tragedy, really, because that was the thing that made me... That was the thing that shook me to the core. I was like, shit, this place is fucked up, man. I don't want to be
Spirits
here.
are lifted, and purpose is made clear.
At least you can't get ambushed while sleeping.
Yeah.
That would be rude.
That's kind of why I wasn't using camping skills all the time, because I knew I'm not going to get ambushed while camping. What's the point?
Yeah. I mean, on the one hand, it's nice to have, like, a static set piece to go through. But on the other hand, like, that
That element of danger is gone.
Yeah, the element of danger is really kind of missing in that randomness.
Now, if I remember right, we're going to see a unique ability here. I think. Because I know in either this video or the next, that specific kind of enemy with the whole, with the weird upstairs, downstairs business going for their tail, they have a really mean attack.
Upstairs, downstairs business?
I don't know what to call it, because I... You know what, never mind. The other enemy, though, the Fleshhound, is a very peculiar enemy, in my opinion. They have an attack that I feel like should also do bleed, but it doesn't, and it kind of confuses me. Like, it's called Gnash, and you'd think an enemy that gnashes at you would make you bleed, right?
Yeah, I'd figure.
But it doesn't. I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like it should have bleed damage. Because pretty much everything else does, but no, Gnash is just high damage and stress damage.
Yeah.
Also, if you notice from the attack animations, they sure do love the Iron Crown.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I know what they're going for, but it seems a little weird that these things bite in specifically the Iron Crown stress logo.
I mean, it's a great thematic hook. I mean,
Yeah, it's good consistency, but I'm also just like,
Yeah.
huh, that's a weird evolutionary choice. But yeah, the hounds also have another ability called Fetch, which is, while it sounds cute, it's also mean in that it stuns and pulls you to the front.
Yeah, but we've seen stuff like that before.
Yeah, the stun is just the problem, because, as I've mentioned ad infinitum in this LP, action economy is key, and when you get a stun, things kind of get complicated.
Right.
Also, once again, I forget to use riposte.
I mean, you get rid of the fucking hell dogs, and it's pretty much downhill. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I said the other boss fight was the hardest, because like with a situation where you take 2 torments, that sucks. Also, odd situation. He didn't Revelation there. That's bizarre. Like, that's the one time where I don't... That's really weird. He didn't do a Revelation there. Wonder why. Like, I thought they were hard-coded to do Revelation.
I suppose not.
That's really weird. What the hell? I don't know, maybe I'm just at a loss there, because I honestly thought, like, with all I've seen of this, Revelation was a guarantee. Maybe it's like the Siren and her weird little charm where it will only turn off under the most bizarre of circumstances. Yeah, that skill sucks. Full AoE roughly averages at 10 damage and a 4 damage blight DOT. That thing hurts.
Oh yeah, but I mean, he did exactly use it at the most opportune time.
Yeah,
I mean, if he were to drop that when you were still fighting the dogs, that would probably be a problem. But
yeah. I'm glad he used it though, because that kind of shook me up. I was like, oh wow, 4 crits. What? Fuck that. Get out. And that was lighting the way. I don't exactly know what that does for the creature. I'm guessing it just lights us a path to figure out where to go next. But that's also the only...
Probably somewhere in the flavor text, I don't really know.
But yeah, that's all we're gonna be using those torch trinkets for. They're useless now.
Yep.
The maniacal cultists are quelled for a time, but there can be no celebration.
But
your progress is measured
what do you mean?
only in progressive
We're celebrating right now.
and dawning horror.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt
You are
that.
in the shadow of the end.
Sorry about interrupting that dialogue, folks, but I thought that was like a weirdly timed down event. It was just like, there could be no cause for celebration. I'm like, but we're celebrating right now. That's a little weird.
It's kind of an eerie piece of art. Just...
What, the ancestor shrouded?
Yeah. With
I think it's kind
crown around him.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool.
I like it.
I can't tell if that's, like, inappropriate or wholly appropriate, depending on where we're going. Because, like, the ancestor said there's no need for celebration, and I thought it was, like, a really amusing thing, but also he's kind of right. What have we succeeded on?
I mean, we survived twice.
Speaking of, that does bring me to something I forgot to mention in the first video. Anytime you succeed a Darkest Dungeon thing, all stress on everybody is wiped off.
Yes. That is really good.
If you fail, though, that just, I don't know if it's for all missions or just a Darkest Dungeon mission, but EXP is doubled, period. So if you fail a Darkest Dungeon, it's not bad. You can bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just deathly afraid of it, because I don't want, I didn't wanna. I didn't wanna do more.
Should save your slots.
That's fine. What am I gonna use them for?
More dogs?
Actually, yeah, I think that's what I was trying to look for here. I'm like, where are the dogs,
Barbaric
man? I
rage
need
and
dogs.
unrelenting savagery make for a
But I have 2
powerful
level 6
ally.
dogs and I have 2 level 0 dogs, so we will get quad dog eventually.
It's a bold claim.
It will be a bonus video, don't worry. Space House. That's a really fun name. I think that's a YouTube user as well, because I distinctly remember his message being very bizarre.
Oh?
It was worded in a way like you would get from this game. I was like, alright, this is cool. I like this guy. Also, longtime thread viewer Shaykun.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, next time on Darkest Dungeon, it's actually the shortest video of this series. Well, of this
Bizarrely.
4-part series. I'll explain why it's so weird when we get to the video, but next time, oh god, what was the name of the quest? But we're going deeper.